Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to touch on something I talked about in my previous video. You can actually see that by clicking right up here. It was basically mods that could potentially ruin your car. So I'm going to go over a list of mods today that I feel could potentially ruin your car. Alright, so I'm going to go over this list of mods that, like I said, could potentially ruin your car. This is going to be more opinion-based. I feel like, even though it is my opinion, the majority of you out there will probably agree with it. Ultimately, what it comes down to for me is does the mod make the car look better? Does it make it faster? Does it make it more functional? If the answer to those is no, then odds are good it's ruining the car. So right off the bat, I'm going to jump into it. Number one, and this is going to be one that I'm sure everybody has seen, is the fake stick-on vents that you can get from like Advanced Auto or Pep Boys or AutoZone. It seems like I see this a lot in cars, and honestly, it's not limited to any specific car. So I mean, you have your real low-end, you know, 4-cylinder, 4-door economy cars, all the way up to high-end V8s, V12s. You know, I've seen them on everything. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture right here. But ultimately, they're not functional. They don't look better. And ultimately, they don't do anything for the car. It's just someone decided to grab them, stick them on the side to make it look a little sportier, or whatever the idea may have been there. Whatever the idea was, it fell short. So that's going to be number one. All right, and then number two is going to be huge wings. So basically, people take these huge wings, usually look like a park bench, and they stick it on a car that's not supposed to have it. Basically, right off the bat, what you see is a wing that is either too big, too long, or not long enough for the width of their car. So they're putting this wing on the car that's, you know, 65 inches wide, and the wing by itself is 75 inches wide. So right off the bat, it doesn't fit, it looks out of place, and 90% of the time I see this being done, it's being thrown on a front-wheel drive car. So a huge wing on the back of a Civic or something along those lines, it literally isn't functional, it's not helping the performance of the car, and in my opinion, it doesn't look very good. So with that being said, I'm kind of even in the same mindset with the new Corvette ZR1. That spoiler, the ZTK package, gives you the bigger spoiler. That spoiler is made for the car, it helps with performance, it's amazing looking, it's made out of carbon fiber, it gives you like 900 pounds of downforce. And I'm still kind of torn on it. The jury for me is still out on that. I don't know if I like the idea of putting a wing like that on a car like a Corvette. It is functional, so I mean, it kind of goes against what I was saying earlier. It's very functional, and it does help the performance of the car, but in my opinion, it kills the looks to the point where I'm not sure if it really matters if the performance is that much better. So I mean, I've always been the type that says, you know, if I can put this horrible, ugly, disgusting thing on my car, but it gains 500 horsepower, I still probably wouldn't do it. Because if I don't like the look of the car overall, I don't care how the performance is. If I don't like how it looks, I don't want it. Another one on this list is going to be a stanced car. So this one's going to be kind of a two-parter, because the first part, people do it for looks. I'm not of the opinion that the looks are any good with a stanced car, but some people might be, and if you are, then that's fine. But even if you do love the way a stanced car looks, you cannot dispute the fact that you are just killing performance. The fact that those tires are going to wear basically down to the belts within months, that aside, you are literally eliminating like 90% of the contact patch of that tire on the pavement. So even if you stance this car, which I've seen, I actually have a picture here of a Ferrari that's been stanced. So even if you stance a car like that, that's obviously going to be a fast car, you're limiting the contact patch so badly that once you hit the gas, that tire is either just going to spin or you're going to get almost no power to the ground at all. So right off the bat, no performance. You're killing it. And I know some people who want to spend a lot of money on it will put airbags on the car so they can lower it down to get that look, but then whenever they want to go, you know, race or whatever it is they might want to do, they can raise it back up and kind of level the tires back out, which is honestly, that is going to be a very select few. Most people slam that car and that's the way it stays, because even with airbags that gives you the option to raise the car back up and maybe get, you know, some of the tire back on the ground, that's expensive. It's expensive and it's heavy. So most people aren't going to go that route that are performance oriented, because there's no real benefit to it. I mean, you get that stance look, which for me isn't a great look to begin with. So, and I mean, I can totally appreciate wanting to lower the car to give it a bit more of an aggressive look. Depending on how much you lower it, you actually even improve handling and maybe even improve aerodynamics. But when you slam it like that, where the tires are angled up in the fenders, you're not helping anything. I mean, the suspension's getting hurt, the tire wear is getting hurt, your performance is hurt. Everything on the car is now worse for doing that. And honestly, the last one here is one that I haven't seen in a while. I saw it just the other day, but up until that point, I haven't seen this for probably 5 or 6 years since the original Fast and Furious movie came out. But it was a Honda Civic that had to have been probably a 5-6 inch. No, it was bigger than that. It was probably close to 8-inch exhaust tip on it. And they were driving around with this exhaust tip, and it was so loud and just unbelievably annoying. It sounded like, literally like a lawnmower. And when they hit the gas, the car didn't go. Like, you could tell that throttle was to the floor. The car wasn't moving, but that exhaust was just screaming, and it sounded god-awful. I mean, I feel bad for the person driving it, because it was a girl, and I'm assuming it was probably her boyfriend's car, and she probably hated every second of it. But it was just so bad that it instantly reminded me of, you know, the earlier 2000s when Fast and Furious was popular, and that stuff was everywhere. And I remember even at that time I thought it was dumb, but now it's even worse because it's dated and it's still stupid. So that's going to be my list of mods that could ruin your car. Ultimately, this is very subjective. A lot of those things on this list are subjective. I know people out there are going to disagree or agree, and that's totally fine. I mean, this really is more of a list of what I think could ruin a car as far as mods go. Obviously, my opinion doesn't have to be your opinion. If you have a different opinion, shoot it down in the comments down below. Let me know what they are. I always like to hear from you guys. And I mean, if you have different opinions on what would ruin a car or disagree with some of the ones that I stated, put the comment down below. Let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you like the video. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below or hit me up on Instagram, Google+, or Twitter. Have a good one.